Hello again, welcome back to my channel. My name is Madeline and today I have a little bit of a different video for you, but I wanted to talk today about one of my New Year's resolutions, and that is to read more books. I think that's a resolution that a lot of people have, and I've had it for myself before and failed miserably. And the reason I failed is because I didn't really give myself a goal, I didn't set specifics, I just said read more. And I found that unless I'm very specific with myself, I will not reach any goal at all. Because, procrastination. So this year I want to read 52 books in the year. So that is about a book. That's not about a book a week. It is a book a week. I'll probably end up reading 2 books in 1 week and then not a book the next week, something like that. But basically a book a week. And so there are a few themes and a few focuses I have for the year of the type of books I want to read, and I want to discuss those with you today. I have a few of my own suggestions if you're interested in reading some new books this year, and then please, if you have any suggestions for me, I'd be very happy to receive them. So one of my focuses for the year is to read some more classics. I've read a few over this past year and I've really enjoyed all of them. I've reread, for instance, To Kill a Mockingbird. That is obviously required reading for many American students in high school, and I found it really beneficial to revisit that. So I want to revisit some books that were on my high school reading list that I maybe didn't read, or books that I think I should revisit as an adult, a fully formed adult. Fully formed, I don't know, are you ever fully formed? Anyways, this is getting weird. Just revisit them because you gain a lot more life experience from the age of 15 or 16 to the age of 26. So I want to do that, and I love using my Kindle for that because you can get a lot of public domain works for free on your Kindle. For instance, I'm currently reading Jane Austen. I have all of her works on my Kindle and they were free. You can also use the Kindle app on a tablet. You can use, if you have an iPad, you can use the Books app and you can just download certain things off the internet for free, because after an author has been deceased for 100 years, their works become public domain. And one of the things that got me into that sort of time period and style of writing is Jane Eyre. And I love Jane Eyre. It's one of my favorite books. This is my one and only copy of it. When we moved, I had several copies. If I found a cool copy of Jane Eyre, I would buy it. But when we moved, I decided to donate them because we really couldn't bring a ton of books with us. But I kept this one. So I want to reread it because I haven't read it in at least a year, maybe more. And then when we were at the British Library, they have a big exhibit of a bunch of different historical works, whether it be music, writing, religious texts, and they had a bit of Jane Eyre, and they had a little excerpt about Charlotte Brontë, but then they had an entire section about this book right here, which is Wide Sargasso Sea. I think that's how you say that. But this is a prequel to Jane Eyre. It was written by Rhys, or it was inspired as a prequel to Jane Eyre. And if you haven't read Jane Eyre, I don't want to spoil it for you, but I don't really think you can spoil a book that's hundreds of years old. But there is a character who is mentally ill. They call her a mad woman. And one of Jane Eyre's critiques of that, and I think a lot of people's critiques of that character, is that she is not humanized. She's basically just used as like a device in the writing to blame a lot of stuff on. And it's not a very fleshed out character of like what living with mental health is actually, with mental health issues, is really like. So this is a prequel about her story and what happened to her and her life before the time in Jane Eyre. So that sounded super awesome. So I picked this up at the British Library bookstore. I'm a real sucker for like pretty books, like pretty copies of books, which tend to be way more expensive. But I thought this would be like a keepsake. I like to buy things like this instead of buying like a magnet. So I picked this up and I'm really excited to read it. And then I have a few fiction books on my list. One of my favorite books that I want to reread is Shopgirl by Steve Martin. Steve Martin the comedian, is a remarkable human person, and you should learn more about him because he writes novels. He, I don't know if he co-wrote or he at least is in some way a part of a musical on Broadway. Something with, I don't know if he wrote it or he wrote the music for it, something like that. But he's basically just like crazy talented. And this book is so, so good. There's also a movie by the same title starring himself and Claire Danes and Jason Schwartzman. And it's very short, but it's about 20-something, I think she's in her late 20s. She's an artist who moved to Los Angeles from Vermont or Maine, somewhere up there. And she wanted to chase her dreams, and she ended up working at a department store as a shop girl, and she's kind of floating through life and is really struggling to find her way. So I really liked this book, and I think you should read it. Then I picked up these two books at Waterstones. This is The Girls by Emma Cline, and this is The Muse by Jessie Burton. I don't have the sleeve for it because I take the sleeves off my books because I hate sleeves on my books. I just tear them and they get all mangly and I don't like it. So I've already read this and it was super good. It's about a teenage girl who finds herself or chooses to join a cult. She didn't realize it was a cult because she was like 15, I believe. It's in the late 60s. And it's about this summer that she basically spends in a cult and what happens directly afterwards. It's kind of like a crime novel. Not really. There is an element of crime in the book, and it kind of flashes back between the current time as her as an adult and then flashbacks to her time in the cult as a young teenager. So super good. I've heard a lot of people say great things about it, and I would definitely say it's worth the read. Is it the best book or like super amazing and great? I don't know, but it's definitely worth the read, and I think it would be a great beach read. For me, these are the kind of books I like to read on the beach, you know, or on vacation. And then this is The Muse by Jessie Burton. Literally no clue what it's about. In Waterstones, they have a little section in the front where their employees will write a little suggestion as to why they think the book is good, and I bought it. So it was on sale. So we're going to see how good that is. And I think I need a few more of those like lighter fiction reads because I'm about to get in some deep stuff that I'm focusing on for the year because I really haven't read anything of substance. I wouldn't say anything, but I have really shied away from reading a lot of things of substance as of the last few years because if you did not know, I graduated with a degree in Women and Gender Studies, and basically how my degree program was structured is I read a lot of articles, a lot of books, and then we would come to class and we would discuss it, we would write papers about it, and it was an amazing degree. I loved it, but I just haven't read as much as I really wish I would have. So 2 of the books that I want to revisit from my time in university are these 2 right here. Bodies Out of Bounds and The Fat Studies Reader. My senior year for my final project, we had to do research, and so I decided to do Fat Studies research, and I looked at a television program and I looked at the main character and whether or not she was fat positive basically and body positive. So I read a lot of works about the body, about the female body and what it means to be fat, and basically super cool. I feel like it's something that a lot of people don't realize is an entire area of study, but it is. And it's the bomb. I love it. As a fat woman, it's extremely interesting to me. And so Body Out of Bounds, Fatness and Transgression is a collection of articles and essays by people about fatness and about about people that go against the grain of what is considered to be good. Like in order to be a good fatty, you have to be actively working to lose weight. You have to kind of have this idea that you're wrong and you're sick and you are the one that's in fault. And so it's basically looking at people that don't follow that script and what it means to be a fat person who accepts themselves and accepts their body and actually fights against this idea that we all need to be a certain size. So This is I remember finding it very intense. Some of them are a very difficult read. They're very scholarly, some of the articles, but it is very interesting at the same time. So I want to read some more of that this year. I would say the Fat Studies Reader is a little bit more accessible. It's the same sort of article-based collection. But this, I would say this would be a good introductory read if you're interested in these sort of works. And then Bodies Out of Bound to be like a little bit of the next level. But I want to revisit both of these bad boys in 2017. And then I also want to focus on reading more books by BAME and LGBTQ plus authors. So that can be fiction or nonfiction, doesn't matter. Just want to read a lot more books by those authors this year. BAME means Black, Asian, and Minority Ethnic authors, and LGBTQ, obviously LGBTQ. So one of those authors is Roxane Gay. I have been meaning to read her for years, literally years. She is really well known for her collection of essays called Bad Feminist. I don't know why I haven't read this. It almost blows my mind. I've heard so much about it, and I'm really, really excited to get into that. And then this is Difficult Women. This is a series of short stories written by Roxane Gay, all about different type of women, different backgrounds, different socioeconomic statuses, different races, and their stories. And again, heard great things, so excited to read that. And then this is a novel by Roxane Gay, and it's An Untamed State. I don't necessarily know as much about this, but I've heard really good things. Someone told me that it's kind of, I don't want to say triggering, but it can kind of be in a very emotional read to just prepare myself. I think I might read this that time of the month, because that's when I'm usually looking for something. Is anyone else like that? I want to watch like sad documentaries, and I want to watch like Intervention, you know? So I think this will be a good book to read then. And then lastly, on the same sort of line of BAME authors, not only do I want to read BAME authors, I want to read more about the Black experience in America. And all of these 3 books are about that. One of the big ones that I've heard a lot about is The New Jim Crow. This is about the mass incarceration of Black people in America, what that means for the Black experience, what that means, how that looks, how that kind of shapes the landscape in America, basically, economically, socially. It's a big read, and I've meant to read it for so long now, and I never actually got my hands on it, so I will definitely be reading that this year. And then Between the World and Me is basically a letter that a father writes to his son, and it's a very, what do I want to say? I mean, this is brutal. It's a brutal look at what it means to be African American in America, and he's writing to his son about what he can expect, about the historical context and the repercussions of what that means for him growing up, and then his suggestions for his son to prepare him as best he can for the world that he lives in. So it's a National Book Award winner, and it sounds like something I should absolutely read. It sounds amazing, so I really can't wait to read that. And then this is Citizen. This is a collection of poems by Claudia Rankine. And this is again about the Black experience, and I basically just heard that it's really powerful, and I think on Amazon it said that it was almost like a documentary through poem about what it means to be a Black citizen in America. So another really powerful read that I'm excited to get into. So I think that's about all the books that I have to share with you. That was a lot. But if you have any other suggestions for me, books that you think I might like to read, they don't have to be nonfiction. They can be fiction if you have a favorite book, or if you have a classic book that you think is really, really good that might be your favorite. I would really love to hear them below, because I'm already starting to compile a working list of the books that I want to consider reading. So I hope you enjoyed it, and I look forward to seeing you guys again soon. Thank you so much. Bye.